Every little nobody is somebody to someone. You're not just a nobody, you're somebody to me. You just never had a chance to show what you can do. Don't you mind if now and then people laugh at you? Someday you'll meet somebody and nobody will tease you. You'll have lots of blue ribbons, you just wait and see. Every little nobody is somebody to someone. And you'll always be somebody to me. This is Troublesome Times. Unscripted, unedited, all done in one take. Because it's so easy, right? Since everyone else has a podcast, I might as well have one too. Oh my gosh, you just caught me in my boop boop ba doop little song session. Didn't expect you here. So, what's been good? If I knew I was going to have a visitor here right now, I would have warmed up my vocals a little better. So, if anyone wondering what I just drank, I have a very high, super high tolerance for sour flavored candy and everything. So, hint, hint. Oh, and what's my thoughts about it? Pretty solid. I'd say this is surprisingly one of the best ones. Seriously, it's the only reason I'm still drinking this is I need to cut carbs. So, this is kind of like a punishment for myself. Every time I overdo it on the carbs, I have to basically drink something equivalent to water. And the weird thing is, it's not, it's just something else. So, but, if you're really into the sour stuff, the sour gummy worms is where it is hit. So I want to try all 3 levels of this sour drink and all that. So, this is how I want it arranged if I could get it as a gift or available at all at any time. Because I'm one of those people that do not like to order food and drinks online. That's the one thing I'll never trust doing. Online, like Amazon kind of thing. I like to go to the store and get it. Or eventually get it myself. Whatever. You know what I mean? So, this is how I'd want to buy it. I want 1 of each level of this drink, all of the highest level, or 2 of the current level 3, but then make a level 4, name it something like Wonder Sour, and just for me. You know, after a while, this stuff does make your tongue swell and burn up in a way. Uh, yeah, so that's kind of why it's been a little hard trying to cut back on the ice cream, as you probably know. So enough about my little fun shenanigans. It's too early for this shit. So, what do you want to talk about? Okay, so I am going to flex my knowledge about animation history. Probably the thing that everybody's pretty much on board with. So, this is going to be probably kind of a hot take, hot little thing to do, but I will say, yes, it is pretty understandable why we should exclude and disassociate those pariahs. We should probably refer to him as they are welcome to be the unofficial guinea pigs of this to acquire this knowledge. So far, most people would describe this as a second chance, blank slate, or to those that want the comedic name, the unofficial probation. So what I have primarily 2 conditions for these pariahs to meet. 1, an eagerness to learn objectively. 2, find ways to seek atonement and efforts for redemption kind of thing. Basically, do likable things, do likable reasons, all that stuff. Basically, I guess that's a fancy way of saying to clear your name a little. just to be likable. You can like hear a lot of characters, believe it or not, they do bad things, but they have likable qualities, and that's why in a lot of animations we still root for the protagonist. So, before we get into that, let's flex a little bit about what I have so far. So, the pioneers of animation so far. The first animator we could probably credit so far is Emile Reynaud. You would probably hear his. So, that is the earliest forms we can find of animation. That is. Let me see. Let me double check. This was the late 19th century. And this animation that we have found, this is the latest that we have. This is called Paver Perotto. I might be mispronouncing that. So, before that is another one is the first animated film. So, unfortunately, a lot of stuff has been lost by there. Technically, most people would credit that as the Phantasmagorie by Emile Kohol. Might be mispronouncing that too. So, let's see. El Apostol. Unfortunately, that has been lost into time as far as we know. But the oldest surviving animated film is called The Adventures of Prince Ahmed. Might be mispronouncing all of those, by the way. But don't worry, somewhere hidden, I have this giant ass playlist of animations in chronological order. Don't know if it's ever going to be on this one, but it's not very difficult to find in the era. So, Emile Reynaud, I would credit as the first animator. So the problem is we don't know when exactly that period of date is because Emile Reynaud basically had a mental breakdown and destroyed his inventions, and all of his work in it threw it in the Seine River as far as I'm aware. So before that, another thing we may find, these are credited as the precursors to animation, is cutout animation, which is pretty self-explanatory in a way, construction paper looking kind of thing. So most thing I think the easiest way to picture that is, think of the South Park design, character design, and that should be fine. And so the another pioneer of animation is Max Fleischer. Might be mispronouncing that, by the way. He invented the rotoscope, which is you trace over human movement and then move the characters that way. So it's not, I mean, it's very rarely used, I guess, because it's so much effort it put into it. But you may know him as the creator of Betty Boop, which is the song I just sang in the beginning. And so before that, he has also made, he and another, I think, believe his brother. Let me just double check that for a second. So Max Fleischer and let me see, because I'm pretty certain. Yeah, Max and Dave Fleischer. They created Fleischer Studios. And before Betty Boop, they have made two characters that are pretty well known is Bimbo, which is a male dog character as far as I'm aware. Back then, Bimbo was not known as what we currently know it as now. It was actually described like what we, I guess, say the 1930s or 10s or versions of let's say early 20th century for simple. That's the 20th century, early 20th century equivalent of Meathead, as far as I can understand. Yes, I know where am I gonna get my sources. I know. It's something I should really gotta miss out on. Oh, wait, where'd you get that idea for guns? Well, I guess I should have cited the dictionary, because otherwise I would never do it. So it's probably somewhere in the dictionary. You have to dig a little deep, but yeah. So we'll hang on to him later. And then also another character called Coco the Clown. So, Betty Boop started as Bimbo's girlfriend. She actually resembled like a humanoid dog in her first appearance. Was fun to actually watch all of her cartoons, by the way. See how she fleshed out. So, that's why in some of her cartoons, Coco the Clown and Bimbo were in the cartoons too. So, little Marvel Universe before it became a thing. Probably the first Marvel Cinematic Universe when you think about it. And Popeye, they were also involved with Popeye, which is why I believe he sort of appeared, but whatever, right? That's fun. So, what happened to Betty Boop? So, the Hays Code around the late 30s is what happened. So, this was basically ran primarily by, I'm gonna say, religious authorities kind of thing. They wanted to basically sanitize, make movies and films in general very family friendly and, great sentimental, wholesome values, right? Problem is, there's always an agenda with these kind of things. So, one of the biggest primary things most people would probably tell you is that gay people were erasured, queer erasure, woohoo. Another thing is, like, the bad guys couldn't win. Almost no violence unless it was to show that violence and drugs and sex were all a bad thing. Interracial marriage definitely was considered frowned upon there. So a lot of stuff happened. But also, sexual liberation. And Betty Boop was basically a sexually liberated woman. So she definitely took a nosedive down there, and the Fleshers really tried to make it work, but it was not the same. Yeah, and then so that's a little fun education. So one of the reasons, besides Emile Reynaud, is because a lot of these early animations were on literal film, and since they were not preserved very well, so a lot of that stuff has been destroyed or like pretty much need to be restored. Yippee, right? So, I will say if you're going to watch the Betty Boop cartoons, a lot of it's pretty problematic at the time, but you also have to keep in mind, yes, it's problematic today, but the idea of representation back then is just being included and being humanized in some way. So, a lot of stuff did not age well and, may enforce some stereotypes, but, that's the idea is like you exist and we do not hate you. I mean, it's kind of a weird mindset to have, I know, but just keep that in mind. A lot of stuff like that is, I would say I can kind of see why, like, a lot of animation film studios, they want to try to, like, not acknowledge that, or even Disney Plus will say, oh, this stuff happened, it was a product of its time, it wasn't okay then, and it wasn't okay now, but, yeah, that's good. But it's gonna be a big, big, big talk about animation. So one of the things I decided to do to celebrate a milestone. Oh God, no. No, no. That laugh not gonna come out right. So anyway, what I decided to do is I've done the thing I haven't done in years, and this was gonna be the first time I was more likely than not be recognized as the online figure I am permanently am. um, so that wasn't gonna be easy. So I went to MomoCon 2025 just to get an idea of what I have in store, and pretty much everyone I talk to is pretty much on board with this. Love the idea, and I'm thinking this could have been my main argument. If animation, which composes of a lot of factors to work to make this all together, it actually makes interest people to study these things. I know I'm definitely one of them. Then maybe this could be the main argument why it should be seen as an academic study history, if nothing else. Very hard work to do, but I think it is worth it. So I see a lot. This is somewhere along the line about a few months ago, I realized this is something I cannot do alone. So a lot of this is trying to figure out what kind of crowd would I be able to incite this interest in. I think it's been fun. It's been very fun. So I'm pretty sure. Did any of these people I featured are aware? Yes, they are. In fact, I kind of love that. I'm not going to mention these three yet, but I will say I think it was a very, if this is true, speculation. I think it's very interesting that one of the guest feature would have been someone I have absolutely no idea about. By the way, I did. I finally, because I watched Emo the musical, saw his review, never realized it until now. Finally ended up watching it. Pretty good stuff. But I will say, sure, you know what? The way if you want to make your videos, you do script, no script, improvise, ad-libbed. That's if whatever works for you. I'm just saying there's a lot of challenges doing all sorts of formats. Trust me, I would know more than anything. Oh, that's what I get for being a writer for so forever, as long as I can remember, and then pursuing a degree where I have to analyze and dissect literature in order to pass and get this degree. It has been a pretty exciting ride. It feels like I know all sorts of stuff from everywhere. Oh, I really don't know which one I'm gonna do yet. I was thinking about doing horror, but I don't know. It doesn't. It seems like everything's up in the air. I'm not. I mean, I sort of do want to try it, but at the same time, I'm not really sure for my own kind of because some people I think it comes off as horror, but it's kind of not. Maybe it's more like thriller. But I don't really want anything to influence my story that I'm working on that ended up becoming its own thing. But I digress. But I really do wonder if they eventually realize, like, if I have spoken to them, commented on them in the past, know about them, and if they did, how do they feel about it? So, I mean, I was gonna actually describe what happened on Saturday at MomoCon, but then I kind of have a feeling I'm going to give myself away, even though I really, really, really tried not to. Oh boy. But, and again, I guess another main reason, like, I didn't want to make it all about me because, like, it's kind of not cool to spend like a long ass time trying to get your own event and then someone just steals the spotlight from you. I mean, I had every reason to, but I had the ultimate excuse to do it, but I just couldn't do them dirty like that. Like, oh, so I feel, I don't know. Like, I guess this is the part where it really shows that I really, really, really do not have main character syndrome. That is segueing to the another topic I'm sure people are aware about. This animation pilot that I have seen. Um yeah, as much as I really, really, really hated to say all this stuff I did, my thoughts about it, I just want them to know that this is for their own good. It is very interesting that these are supposedly seasoned actors and this is the final result of it. And I gotta say, for all the voice actors involved, I really, really do not blame them for this. Really think they really tried to make this work. But I do think it's a little problematic for the not Sasuke voice actor because I have a feeling that him only speaking Japanese is the only reason he got cast in this role, in my opinion. So, and then the sad thing is, I don't hate any of these people. It's just kind of, I don't know. I think the biggest problem, the more I think about it, is that it's an alienating premise. So a lot of the older crowd and the people outside of this community, they wouldn't be into it. And then the people that would be into it, it kind of seems like a little too, I would say, patronizing in a way. I mean, look, I mean, for the first, here's the thing about what I believe in. I believe that the first pilot can make or break like a series itself. It's like your first impression to the show. Like, this is why you should watch the show. But I really do think that if it keeps going in this direction, it's not going to get any better. So I really don't know where they're going with this. I have a feeling I already know what the ending is already. It's very nice. It looks very nice. No lie. The voice actors were really good. I did make a couple of suggestions. I think that my suggestion would have worked a lot better than what it currently is. That doesn't mean you have to change everything about it. It just like one or two things can really make or break this premise work. So you can either take my advice, keep making another episode, and it might be get worse, or you can redo the whole thing. And with all these suggestions, that would take maybe 5 years to do. Or you can keep going and fix all the issues in the pilot that can be fixed in the next episode. That would make sense. So, these are all these routes I can do. I will say, like, all of my suggestions have usually worked for a lot of people. That means, oh gosh, I don't know what happened. I think like somebody gave my review of Danny Phantom a glitch in time. I don't have proof for it. I did read the TV's tropes page. A lot of that stuff got cleared up. I will say like everything was good. Like, but the objective reviewer critic in me has to really really show where they can really improve. I don't know who sent them that video because I never contacted the creator at all. Well, not the I did email Butch Hartman, but I didn't show him the actual video, if I'm correct. Nobody really knew. Everybody knew at the same time when it came out. I don't know who shown the artist and the illustrator of that one, but it seems like they are taking a lot of stuff in there. So I mean, trust me, when you're writing a lot of stuff and you're sitting here and you're trying to get to know your own characters, and it's kind of funny because even if you get someone else's character and then you rewrite them, they suddenly become yours too. You're like becoming the official stepfather of these characters. So anyway, so I will say it does look promising. The Danny Phantom Fair game. I am planning to buy it. I will buy a physical copy again because I mean, that's how I did it before. I don't know if I'm going to do the digital version when I do the scans. I mean, that is another 6 months to prepare, I guess. So, yeah, so see, like, this is what I've been trying to say is like there's a difference between liking cartoons and then there's a difference with knowing enough about animation and then studying and dissecting and trying to figure out what happened. So I hope, like, you guys are staying on board with me with my little, I guess, harebrained schemed to make this a dream. I mean, my age, you gotta have a purpose, no matter what it is. So, how much longer do we have with each other? So, I guess this is the good part where I mentioned that, oh, why do I need it online? I got so much stuff going on in my mind, I don't need it anyway. And now we're almost at 30 minutes. The beauty of this is, what would I be like if I actually had a co-host? I got plenty. So I could also do where I can do like a little guest everyone and then have someone talk and bounce off of me, which is what my make or break series was supposed to be like, where we would just bounce off, where we would have conflicting ideas, try to see where it does come to a compromise up there. Don't know that's still gonna happen. I really, really, really do what would happen. But who would be the best of my co-host? So far, I have Jeff Props, who is the host of Survivor and is definitely more likely than not the inspiration for Chris McClain from Total Drama Island. And if you don't believe me, then you can compare them side by side, and I don't know why that was never acknowledged. Maybe there's a reason why we shouldn't, but I don't know. I don't know what he thinks of that cartoon. I mean, I wish I knew, and I wish I could tell you, but this show has been going on since some of you have graduated from high school. So maybe there's actually a reason why there's been like dead silence on this show. But if anybody knows for sure, or we will know, we'll probably find out. It's probably going to be very interesting either way. So would he be my choice, like my number one choice? I feel like he just wants to see like all the chaos, just not keep things boring. I'm fully on board with that, Jeff, aka the real Miss Chris McClain, allegedly, supposedly, don't know. Yeah, I mean, see, okay. So I will acknowledge right now why I mean, trust me, if I listed every cartoon that everybody liked that was based on another source material, like another adaptation or whatever, that playlist would be over 1,000 videos right now. And I just learned the maximum is 5,000. So I'm really trying to stay away from sequels, reboots, adaptations, and anything else. I'm trying to do like completely original animations. The only exception I'll really make is they were like really the first kind of things, or if they made an impact to in some way. Because trust me, some of these have gone on for over 50 years, and they've had so many like different kind of shows written by different people and so many crossovers that it would seriously take a very long ass time to put together. And I'm really trying to get all the most original stuff out there. So it's speculated that Total Drama Island is a cartoon version of Survivor. And so there it is. Nothing that deep. What do I think of the show? I actually do like the show a lot. Like I do like Total Drama Island. But it's really not an original animation, you know what I'm saying? So, indie animations, you're probably going to make your way through eventually. Especially if you have like the Netflix cartoons right now. I'm really, really trying to do things like that's not over 10 years old, so that way I can figure out what did make an impact, what did not make an impact. It's really, really hard to try to be objective because there's a huge difference with being like educational about animation and then just talking about the stuff you like. It is very difficult to separate what you like and what you know when it comes to stuff like this. And as I was telling Proton Factories, like prior to this study, I really hated black and white in general. I probably still do. And as I was saying to him, Proton Factories is an artist. Support local artists. I said to him, I hate black and white, but I gotta learn to like it. And that's what I'm gonna do. Um, and that doesn't mean that if you're making your own stuff, you have to suddenly do black and white and then like it. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think you should. I really think it should be the opposite. You should do things because you really, really like it and you really, really want to. But this is the part of like informing people is that you can really, really, really cannot let your emotions, your opinion really influence your judgment. I'd say that's probably the hardest thing to do. So I'm probably by the time I'm like 45, I'm probably going to hear people talk about how much they like Steven Universe, Bluey, Coco Chameleon, whatever. I know all that. And maybe even some Netflix originals I have absolutely no idea about. And I'm definitely just never been, I never grew up with that stuff, but somebody's going to. And I'm definitely going to have to, like, let them be aware of how these things make an impact on animation overall. Good stuff, good stuff. Oh my god, I'm almost done with this. Weirdly enough, this tastes a lot like water. It's like pretty clear, like. So we still have a little bit of time. I'm telling you, with me, like I could talk about animation for a very, very, very long time. I think this should be telling you that I'm absolutely going off the script and I'm still talking about animation and everything. I'm sure a lot of you are very excited. Yes, yes, more animation, please. You know the beauty of animation is it's not just about your favorite TV shows or your favorite movies. It actually applies to a lot of things, like the funny little commercials people watch. Definitely am not going to organize that because that will take forever and they're too short, and you can just Google it and look it up and just find it yourself. So another thing that another the beauty oh yeah, besides the beauty of animation is that it's also been spread out in other mediums. A very popular one is video games. And I swear to God, if we get history of video games before animation, oh man, I'm so going to have a cow. Probably gonna buy the cow and a calf and get milk and get some steak eventually. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have a horse. I'm gonna have a cow. I'm gonna like drop it all the cow pies over to the people that decide to make this up. So another thing a lot of you are gonna have to admit about this. Anime is also going to count as part of animation. Woohoo to those who are very excited or anime fans in general. But why? Look at this from an objective standpoint. Look at the timeline. Look at what's credited as the first animation, Astro Boy, which I highly believe my life as a teenage robot was influenced by. I do not have any reason to believe that. I just believe it's all speculation for me. So, Astro Boy is, basically a robot boy fighting or whatever. I don't know. I have to finish watching that show to find out, to know for sure. That is credited as the first anime, and then overall, we get a lot of mecha anime. Gundam is probably the most famous one. I really, really did try to put those in order, but since it's mecha anime, oh, but the most famous one is Transformers. Probably the most well-known, popular, famous mecha anime, as I can tell. I'm not sure why. I will have to watch a bunch of mecha anime, I guess. So, let me see. As I was saying, so I would estimate that anime has been popular in America for quite some time. We just don't know what it is yet. For example, around the 70s, Speed Racer was pretty popular around the 70s. And it's got pretty kicker. And some of you are probably wondering, wait, weren't these movies? Yes, but they were anime first. And I have to say the animes are a lot better than the film counterparts that we make. What is wrong with us, Hollywood film industry? So, The Rose of Versailles. I might be mispronouncing that too. That was popular around the 80s. And that recently got a reboot on Netflix. And I saw it. I'm like, damn, this anime is showing its age just by me looking at it. So I think around there, when it really got popular is around the late 90s, and that we knew it was anime. And I would estimate that the anime that really kickstarted off was Pokemon. There, it took me 35 minutes to mention Pokemon. Good my holy smokes. When I went to MomoCon, there was literally a ton of Pokemon merch everywhere. I want to say that it's just that popular, or some buddies of mine have joked that maybe they're just waiting for somebody to buy all that stuff and this was their only chance to make a lot of bank. Oh, by the way, speaking of, we shouldn't mention my name, but listen. I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, this son of a bitch is a grifter. That's why he's obsessed with Pokemon, or so he claims to be. But I think what a lot of you are missing that, because unfortunately, I don't want to show my age because we're both the same age. So I think a lot of you are missing, because this is something called values dissocians. I might be mispronouncing that trope. Is that there was a stigma that if you were very open about your like of anime and animations, that you were probably most likely going to be a laughing stock. You're going to be mocked for being open about your interests. So that's to say, I'm going to give this one the benefit of the doubt, and just say I really do believe that the love of Pokemon is completely genuine, and I tried to make that show when my characterization of the Persona poems were showing it. I really do believe it's legitimate. Like, I don't really think that, you would hold the world record for having the most expensive purchase of a Pokemon trading card if it wasn't legitimate. And if it was, because if this was a grifting kind of move, then they would have sold it like for maybe 5 times as much, just for the fact that the name is pretty famous. But the fact that this one is actually kept like the world record Pokemon card, I I'm gonna say maybe it's more likely than not gonna be genuine. Like, it's a genuine love for Pokemon. And so, and the thing is, like, there's just so much Pokemon out there that I don't even think I'll remember everything, but I can sure as hell try. So, but my point I'm making is there is an appeal to Pokemon. Well, first of all, I mean, kids love like cute little pet creatures that they can find and catch around any time. Kids like adventures. Kids like not going to school and having to be bossed around by their mom and doing all that kind of fun jazz, right? And then, they got a very cute design and all that. And, there was a pretty kind of a trend of that for a while. Yeah, I mean, I guess some of them you probably think of as Digimon, which is like maybe the lesser known version of Pokemon. Yokai Watch, the kid friendly version of Pokemon. And Yu Gi Oh!, which is almost the same, only probably more for teenagers, but with trading cards and all that. I might be completely wrong about that. Beyblade, not really monster kind of thing, but I'm just saying. I will say that Pokemon is probably a lot of people's introduction to anime, and it is rightly just so. For the older crowd, maybe One Piece is also another one. However, why wasn't this acknowledged sooner? Because when Pokemon and One Piece first came out, it was on the Warner Brothers channel called 4Kids. And that was a channel segment dedicated for chick kids entirely and all that. So a lot of times the One Piece and 4Kids were censored to make it more friendly, kid friendly, you probably say. But, and I believe Sailor Moon was part of that too. Don't know. So what happened is that a lot of times these dubs were changed. They changed a lot of the meaning of the original version. So if you were growing up in the early 90s watching Sailor Moon, you didn't realize there was a lesbian couple in Sailor Moon. Why? Because they changed it in the English version that they were cousins. Wow. That's a there was even queer erasure in anime. That's definitely something to write and talk about. You're welcome. So another thing they do is they'd also put a lot of Americanized like stuff in a lot of the anime. Like for example, Jesse and James, those are not their actual names. They changed pretty much all of their names to American names for people to understand. Don't know why they never did that to Sailor Moon. Don't I couldn't tell you. But maybe I might be wrong. Wasn't I was very very young when the original Sailor Moon came out. So, and also for One Piece, though, my, that basically turned into like a completely different anime. So, the one thing Funimation did do good is actually keeping it or as original as possible. It's too bad they couldn't do that when they did the English dub for Axis Powers Italia, which they basically tried to make like an very, very problematic kind of dub. Like, really, like, they couldn't even, sure, the accents is whatever, but they literally just did not do the source material. They just basically told their voice actors to ad lib everything. What is wrong with you? So, yes, I do watch both sub and dub. And so, this is a kind of a debate that I'm sure a lot of you would do. Subs, as original as possible. Dub, but this is something a lot of people would be able to better watch and not focus on too much. So I'd say, oh, it really depends. Like, for example, Dragon Ball. They, in the English version, they are voiced by men. In the Japanese version, Goku is voiced by a woman. I have no idea why. Naruto. Some people are, I mean, I guess it's understandable why you wouldn't be a fan of Naruto's voice actor, but I think it kind of works in a way. Same with Luffy, because there you are. Anyway, so Death Note, also another example of where the English dub was better than the Japanese sub. And Full Metal Alchemist. Oh boy. Took me this long before I name dropped Vic Mignogna, who in the original Full Metal Alchemist was voiced by a woman too. But in the English version, Full Metal Alchemist was voiced by Vic Mignogna, who weirdly enough sounded very young at the time that he did it. Like, that's very impressive. I don't know. He's got some magic vocal pipes or something like that. Gosh, damn, that's impressive. I mean, look. I know a lot of you have a lot very, very, very understandable reasons for not liking Vic Mignogna. I'm not saying he's a bad voice actor, but considering what he had to work with, he did a pretty fine job. You gotta remember what the dubs were like back then. Oh boy, like I couldn't, like, I think Ghost Stories was considered one of the worst dubs around. And it bombed in both the Japanese and the English market. Do we really want that? Are we gonna say that Vic Mignogna was as bad as that? I mean, it's so weird that around the early 90s and 2000s, like, voice acting for both video games and anime were at its infancy, and it really showed with how, like, very little, whatever. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, very, I don't know, I think they just really tried to make that one work, and they just had no idea how to do it. The director's probably like, just do it. Okay. That's what that's how I imagine what happened back when they were doing voice acting. We don't know if this thing is ever gonna become like a sensation. So just do your work, whatever. Got it, guys. Let's do it. What is it all? I'm gonna destroy you even if it's the last thing I do. Just imagine. That's my theory for why these turn out the way they did. And it's not just video games. It seems to be like all of that in the 90s for some reason. Early 90s. You know, it's weird. Like, we get nostalgic for the 90s cartoons, but they're always late 90s cartoons. Like, literally, they're as old as I am. Nostalgic cartoons. Like, they were as old as I am. Like, Toy Story is 30 years old now. Just let that sink in. And that's mid to late 90s. Actually, should count because I believe it released around December 95. Late 90s animated film. So, I'm just saying, I mean, that's my hot take. That's my hot take. I gotta be objective with this stuff. I got to point out, like, what people are doing. Like, you guys can like what you like, but you gotta acknowledge that, not everybody is going to feel the same way as you, and you gotta respect that. And as long as you're aware that my opinion is not better than yours, and you can still like what you like, I think that's what matters. One of the things I really, really don't like is when people tell me in particular how I should enjoy something and what I should enjoy. I mean, who are you to tell me how to enjoy something? Right? So, again, for this animated pilot, I want to like you. I really do want to like you. But that's me being that person that's pretty much open to liking anything. But I want you to actually be very, very nice looking, very, very technically well made. But I want you to give people a reason to like it. That's always going to be the first thing that you're going to have to answer. The first thing that you're going to be asked, because trust me, I have to do before I do these final works or whatever, that's always the first question. Why are you writing this? Why did you do this? Another question that the audience is probably gonna ask you: why should I watch it? And then anybody that's heard of it, why should I care? That's the biggest question that you're always gonna ask whenever you're creating something. Why should I care? And that you should not, I do not think that you should. This is one of the things I really don't like, is that when people, they get defensive about criticism, and it's like, you should like it because it's representation, or if you don't like it, you must be bigoted. That's not up to me to decide what I like. It's up to you to show me why I should care to watch it. This is my time. This is my hobby. This is my enjoyment. It is not my obligation to like something because it's for you. Like, this is, if I don't, I'm suddenly like evil. Like, no. I should be able to watch something and like it. You got to give me a reason to like it, to watch it, and to want to do it. So that is any creator's responsibility to do, is to show why whoever's watching this should care. That, I think, when you put down your mind, you have to answer the question, why should I care? Or in case, why should you care? But no, that sounds kind of disrespectful if you say it like that. So this is always should be the first question people got to answer when they make these. And I think this will really help anybody in the future. Answer the question, why should I care? Really. And think about it from your perspective. Like, what is going to make people choose or want to be into this, right? You can also do that for your own favorite stuff, and that can give you an idea, and you can show that can help you answer that question. So, again, that, I think, and before you know it, you're gonna be us a somebody to someone. And okay, so that was a beautiful way to end this segment, right? It was so easy. Anyone could do it, and I just did it again. So I'm gonna finally let you all free and loose. And I'm not very good at goodbyes, but before we know it, we'll see each other again. So for now, bye bye.